It is difficult today to sort through the often changing or conflicting advice on exercise, diet, and health care. With so much health information to choose from, it's no wonder that we're baffled by it all. Welcome to 10 Smart Ways to Shape Up. I'm Dr. Bill Crounce. In the next half hour, we'll cut through the confusion and provide you with 10 lasting principles of good health to benefit you and your family for a lifetime. You absolutely can improve your chances for a long and healthy life. But how do you begin? The smartest thing to do if you haven't done so already is to stop smoking. It's the single most important thing you can do for your health. And if you're having trouble quitting, your doctor can help. Speaking of your doctor, if you haven't had a checkup in 3 years or more, a smart step to take before starting any new Shaping Up program is to see your doctor. This may sound like a burden or even a cliche, but it's better to be safe than sorry. It's especially important if you're 40 and older and haven't been exercising regularly. Overall checkups are important for early detection of cancer and heart disease. Your doctor will give you a fitness evaluation and examine your muscles and joints to see if they're in good shape. Now, depending on your age or previous health history, your doctor may ask you to run on one of these before you run or jog outdoors. It's a simple stress test. While you walk on a treadmill at progressively faster speeds, your doctor will check your EKG for signs of inadequate blood flow to the heart. Most of us lead an incredibly sedentary lifestyle. We sit behind desks all day. We drive everywhere and expect to park in front of wherever we go. Exercise is one of the cornerstones of good health. An inactive lifestyle is often associated with high blood pressure, stress, and being overweight. With consistent exercise, you'll lose weight, feel better, look better, offset the effects of aging by having more energy, and probably decrease the impact of day-to-day stress. But you'll need to build up gradually. If you haven't been in a regular exercise program for a long time, rushing into getting in shape may result in sore muscles and even a serious injury. Remember, your goal is a lifelong exercise program, not a quick fix. Before you begin, warm up by moving around at an easy pace, doing whatever you're going to do as your exercise. You want to mimic the motions, whether it's running, swimming, or whatever your chosen exercise is. Once you've warmed up those cold muscles for 3 to 5 minutes, you're ready to go. Most experts agree you should continue your SMART exercise program by stretching the muscles to relieve tension. Stretching involves extending the muscle group and holding it in that position for 10 or more seconds. If you stretch a muscle too fast or too far, an injury will occur. Jim Green's an exercise physiologist, and he's going to show us a simple routine we should do before and after exercising.
We'll start with neck circles, lowering the chin to the chest, go as far right and left as possible. The stretch is done approximately 3 to 5 times in each direction. The next is neck or shoulder circles. Go as high and back as possible, doing this both backward as well as forwards. Moving to the arm circle, start with a nice small circle, increasing the diameter as you feel more comfortable. The next exercise for the hamstring or the back of the thigh, extending the leg forward, placing the other foot in toward the opposite knee, lowering chest towards the thigh, again holding it for the first point of tension. So in this set of exercises, require the front of the thigh or the quadricep, bringing the foot towards the buttocks, holding in a static position, approximately 3 to 5 seconds. Good, let's change legs, foot toward the buttocks. Next set of exercises for the calf or the gastroc muscle. Put your elbows up against the wall, rear heel planted on the ground, slowly move the hips towards the wall. And change legs. And don't forget to finish each workout with a 5 to 10 minute cool down. This allows the heart rate and blood pressure to return to resting values. The stretching increases the muscle's flexibility and helps reduce muscle soreness.
Now, which exercise is best for you? Well, the best thing is to choose something you'll be comfortable with, and you want to vary your routine so you won't become bored. Aerobic exercise is any activity which uses the large muscle groups repetitively, and it gives your heart and lungs a good workout. The reason is aerobics require oxygen for prolonged periods, and that demand on your body requires it to improve its capacity to handle oxygen. Your fitness program should be based on aerobic conditioning, since it's by far the best type of exercise for your cardiovascular system. It can raise the good cholesterol factor in your blood. To get the maximum benefits from aerobic activity and to really exercise your heart, you want to push it to approximately 80% of what is called your maximum heart rate. That is, as fast as your heart can go during the height of your workout. To determine your predicted maximum heart rate, subtract your age in years from 220, then take 80% of the result. If you're 50, for example, 220 minus 50 is 170, and 80% of 170 is 136. So, during the height of working out, someone of age 50 should strive for a maximum heart rate of 136 beats per minute. A good rule of thumb is if you can't talk and exercise at the same time, you're working too hard. Monitoring your heart rate is especially important in the beginning months of your aerobic routine. You might start with a goal of 60 to 70% and eventually work up to 80%. The easiest ways to take your pulse are to feel it at the artery on one wrist with the fingertips of the other hand, or to find the arteries on each side of your neck with your thumb and first finger. Count the number of beats you feel for 15 seconds, and then multiply by 4 to get the number of beats per minute. Now take a moment to find your resting heart rate. How many more beats per minute would you experience to achieve your maximum heart rate? When initiating an aerobic exercise physiologists will tell you to think fit, frequency, intensity, and time. Now that you know what your maximum heart rate should be, start exercising 3 times each week, continuously for 20 to 30 minutes per session. You can go longer as you become better conditioned. Now there are plenty of aerobic exercises to choose from. Fitness walking is one example of a terrific aerobic exercise, which allows you to exercise your cardiovascular system, burn calories, and keep in shape. There's also little potential for injury. Start slowly for a few minutes each day and gradually work up to a brisk pace for 20 to 30 minutes. Jogging or running is an excellent choice because you can do it anywhere, anytime. To lessen the chances of injury, wear running shoes. Shoes made for other sports or for walking may not provide features that runners need. For many, running has a psychological value as well as physical. Exercise is a natural mood lifter, and it may be helpful in managing stress.
Running for me is my link to sanity, and I wouldn't miss it for the world because it really sets the tone for the rest of my day.
Your form in running and jogging is very important. Keep the chest slightly elevated, head high, and shoulders relaxed. Don't hold your breath. Breathe deeply and slowly, and relax. Hold your arms slightly away from your body. Bend them at the elbow so that the forearms are almost parallel to the ground. Relax and shake your arms and shoulders from time to time to help reduce tightness. If you're just starting out, try to run a couple of blocks the first 2 weeks and gradually work up to 2 miles 3 times each week. Although it's not nearly as convenient as walking or running, swimming is a great total body conditioner. It puts little stress on bones and joints, and it's an ideal way to build body strength and endurance while getting a good aerobic workout. Begin swimming short distances 3 times a week and gradually build up the number of laps each week. Slow down for the last 5 minutes as a cool-down period. Cycling is gaining in popularity across the country. You have the option of being outdoors or using an indoor stationary cycle. If you're just starting out, your workout should be 10 minutes, adding 2 minutes each week until you reach your goal, which should be between 20 and 30 minutes for each session. On a stationary cycle, begin pedaling with little or no resistance. Increase the resistance until you've achieved your target heart rate. Finish your active exercise by slowing down gradually over a 5-minute period. Play it safe when you cycle outdoors. Make sure your bike is in good shape and that you wear a helmet. Most serious injuries in biking are to the head. At night, use safety reflectors, headlights, and reflective clothing. Aerobic dance routines are very popular, and they can be performed in a class or in the privacy of your own home using videotape routines. Shoes that absorb shock are crucial. Don't overdo it. Limit dance sessions to a maximum of 1 hour, 2 to 4 times a week. Step training is the new aerobic workout of the 90s that involves stepping up and down on a platform at various heights and using vigorous arm movements. It's simple and effective without the impact of running or traditional aerobic dance. But the key to successful fitness is to select what you will have fun doing. And remember, warm up, wear a good shoe, stretch those muscles, cool down, and think fit. Often forgotten by many people are strengthening exercises. Don't just associate these with bodybuilders. Muscular strength training helps prevent injury to the arms, legs, and back. It's also key to strengthening your lower back, thus alleviating in many cases chronic lower back pain. Building strength in your muscles can also help you maintain strength and agility as you age. Muscles that are toned improve the way you look and feel about your appearance. You can change the shape of your body by strengthening your muscles. Building muscle endurance will help you achieve your target goal as you swim that extra lap or run the last mile. Endurance means the number of repetitions of an activity a muscle can perform before it becomes fatigued. The American College of Sports Medicine suggests a minimum twice-weekly routine of 8 to 10 different exercises. Choose ones that strengthen the large muscles of the chest, legs, and back, in addition to your aerobic session 3 times a week. Before you begin working out on the free weights or equipment, get proper instruction from the athletic trainer on staff at your club.
You want to start slowly, increasing the amount of repetitions and the amount of weight lifted. It takes discipline. Start with 8 to 10 repetitions. The first exercise I'll perform is a bench press. This utilizes the chest muscle. Again, keep your hands about shoulder width apart, equidistant from the center. Raise the weight to a count of 2 while exhaling, inhale, while lowering the weight to a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can start by buying an inexpensive set of hand weights to begin your program, or you can get an empty set of milk jugs. Each gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. Starting with the half-gallon containers, filling them to the top, there are several cheaper options for your exercise program. We'll start with a flat bench fly, raising the weight down to shoulder width, exhaling and raising the weight together, utilizing the chest muscle. Other exercises include military press or shoulder raise, 1, 2, 3, 4, lateral raises for the upper back and shoulders, bicep curls, and tricep extensions. These are just several exercises that you can begin at home. We've demonstrated several upper body exercises in the free weight training area. If you have accessibility to a club or facilities, there's several leg exercises that can be utilized as well. The first being a quadricep extension for the front of the thigh. Start by exhaling and raising the weight to a full extension, lowering the feet to the buttocks. The second exercise is a hamstring extension. This is done by raising the feet to the buttocks to a count of 2, lowering to a count of 4. Again, remember to exhale when raising the weight, inhale while lowering the weight. The last exercise to be addressed would be the abdominals themselves. Nothing beats an old-fashioned sit-up. Knees bent, feet flat, hands across the chest. If you want to improve muscular strength, you must include resistance training to your program.
The importance of safety in preventing exercise injuries can't be stressed enough. As I mentioned, you lessen the chances of injury by warming up and by strengthening those muscles. Start your program slowly and build up gradually. Exercise injuries most frequently affect muscles, joints, tendons, and bones. You can pull a muscle, sprain a joint, or tear tissue ligaments surrounding the joint, tear a tendon, or break a bone. And you'll know when you've broken a bone. Emergency first aid includes splinting the fracture where it lies and then carefully being transported to a hospital for x-rays and further treatment. If you sustain another type of injury, ice and rest should be used immediately. Heat should only be used for 24 to 48 hours after the injury. Swelling causes pain and loss of motion. Wrap the injury, ice it, and elevate it to keep swelling down. Ice causes blood vessels to constrict, and elevation keeps blood from pooling at a low point. If you remain in acute pain after a day or two, see your doctor. If not, this is a good time to increase circulation around the joint. One way is a contrast bath. alternating warm and cold water to increase the blood supply by first constricting the blood vessels with cold, then opening them with warm, draining the area. Begin a little movement by flexing. Occasional leg cramps are a common occurrence. Such cramps are relieved with massage. Muscle injuries like pulls take 3 to 6 weeks to heal. There's no way to speed up the natural healing process. Hamstring pulls are very common in people who fail to warm up sufficiently and then run forcefully. Give yourself time to heal. The reason why injuries seem to keep coming back is that most people don't allow the original injury to completely heal. You then need to strengthen the muscle to regain normal flexibility. Now, for many people, trying to lose weight is synonymous with trying to shape up. Consistent exercise will help you achieve your weight loss goal, and so will a proper diet. Almost anyone can lose weight. Few can keep it off. Fighting your weight can feel like a losing battle, and every diet book out there claims it's the one you've been waiting for. You too can look like this. And when the diet books fail, the liquid diet formulas, which are designed to replace 1 or even 2 meals a day, are often the next choice for many. And what happens is you get impatient if you don't lose much weight in the beginning, so you cut out having meals altogether. Not only is this bad for your health, but you end up overeating in the long run. This type of fluctuating weight loss, or so-called yo-yo dieting, can be harmful to you, since you tend to put on more weight in the long run. Stop taking it off and putting it back on. For a lifetime of good health, your goal should be to achieve and maintain a weight that's appropriate for you. If you have questions about that, ask your doctor. If you want to lose weight and keep it off for the long term, you need to practice 4 things. The first is exercise. It produces a feeling of well-being. The second is internal motivation. That means do it for yourself. The third is to pay attention to other positive physical changes in addition to weight loss. For example, you'll be able to breathe better, or you'll be lighter on your feet. Recognize that your overall health is improving. And in addition to raising your activity level, you really have to control your calorie and fat intake. One way to help yourself is to write down or keep track of what you're eating. Try this for a week. You can then see what you're actually consuming and where you can make changes. Another way, and this may be the most difficult, is to change unhealthy habits. For example, slow down when you eat, or if you find yourself eating chips when watching television, give up the TV or snack on something more nutritious. Think of ways to reward yourself for making positive changes. There are all kinds of rewards, other than food, you can give yourself. If it's stress that brings on the overeating, stop and ask yourself if you're really hungry. If not, choose another way to handle day-to-day stress. Take a walk, or just give yourself a break. We'd all like a fast cure or a superfood that we could eat without gaining weight, but the message still is variety, balance, and moderation. The Surgeon General's key recommendations for a more healthful diet will help you plan a weight loss program. Reduce consumption of fat, especially saturated fat. Increase your consumption of whole grain foods and cereal products, vegetables, and fruits. Reduce your intake of salt. And take alcohol only in moderation, if at all. The real culprit in your diet is fat, and you don't have to look far to find it. It's in meat, dessert, eggs, butter, cheese, and ice cream. It's high in calories, and it's damaging to your heart. Food fats are classified as saturated, monounsaturated, or polyunsaturated, based on chemical structure. Saturated fats are the worst because they tend to increase the amount of unwanted cholesterol in the blood, increasing your risk of heart attack or stroke. They're found mostly in meats and dairy products, and they're usually solid at room temperature. Think of butter, cheese, and yes, ice cream. They're also hidden in baked goods, cooking fat, and snacks. Watch out for palm and coconut oil. In fact, that bran muffin you had for breakfast this morning may have done you more harm than good if it was baked with these fats. Polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats can actually help lower your blood cholesterol level, but you still have to watch your total fat intake. All fat is fattening, no matter which one you choose. A tablespoon of fat has about 100 calories. You'll find the unsaturated fats in plant foods and oils derived from them, such as olive oil, peanut oil, canola, corn, and safflower oils. The American Heart Association recommends that you limit your intake of fat to 30% of your total calories each day. This means 50 to 80 fat grams for most of us. You've probably heard this before, but did you know that if you make simple modifications in your diet, you can greatly reduce your fat intake and stay within the recommended guidelines? The only thing you have to lose is weight. Try limiting meat to 3 times a week and reduce the high-fat dairy products, added fats, fried foods, and sweets you eat. Instead, choose whole grain products like wheat bread, vegetables, legumes, and fruits. The National Cancer Institute recommends that you eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables and 5 servings of whole grains each day. It just may be the most widely overplayed, misunderstood, and confusing medical term of this century: cholesterol, the other diet culprit. Cholesterol is a fatty, waxy substance that's produced naturally by the liver. However, an excess of cholesterol in the bloodstream tends to accumulate inside the arteries, the vessels that carry blood, oxygen, and nutrients to all the body's organs. It forms plaque, which restricts blood flow. This is what cholesterol really looks like. This is what can build up over the years and block the arteries, causing coronary heart disease, heart attack, and stroke. The most common cause of too much cholesterol in your blood is a diet too rich in fats. When you eat more cholesterol than your body can use, the cholesterol level in your blood rises. You'll find cholesterol only in foods that come from animals, especially egg yolks, meats, whole milk products, butter, and lard. The only way to cut down on blood cholesterol is to cut down on these foods. Don't look at food as the enemy. You're not being told to completely avoid certain foods, just to think moderation. Let me give you an example of how you can easily follow these recommendations. A breakfast consisting of a scrambled egg, bacon, buttered white bread, and a glass of orange juice is high in total fat, saturated fat, and cholesterol. It's also low in fiber. The fat content can be dramatically cut by replacing the bacon and egg with Raisin Bran Flakes and low-fat milk. To increase the fiber content of the meal, substitute whole grain bread for white bread and a medium-sized orange for orange juice. These simple substitutions reduce the intake of fat by 60% and cholesterol by over 95%. And the fiber is increased while total calories will be greatly reduced. This kind of substitution is the first step toward better nutrition, and it's the smartest way to reduce your weight. More families are opting for a healthier lifestyle.
In order to succeed in eating a good, balanced diet, you have to think of it not as a diet, but as a way of life.
In the long run, nutrition is your best medicine, and there's plenty of good food to choose from. But today, it is more confusing when you shop. Some products labeled no cholesterol contain saturated fat, which tends to increase your blood cholesterol. Other products like peanut butter, margarine, and vegetable oil never contain cholesterol. No vegetable product contains cholesterol, but some are naturally high in fat. For example, 1 cup of roasted macadamia nuts has no cholesterol, but it does have 103 grams of total fat. You can keep track of your fat intake by checking the labels on prepared foods to see how many grams of fat are in 1 serving of the product. For example, this label shows 5 grams of fat in each 4-ounce serving of spaghetti sauce. To approximate fat calories, keep in mind that there are 9 calories for each gram of fat. Don't assume if the label reads light that it's necessarily low in fat. It could mean less salt, less sugar, or less fat. This package says it contains 350 calories, but there are 16 grams of fat. 16 times 9 is 144. That's more than 40% of total calories from fat. Hopefully, new food labeling regulations now pending will reduce some of the confusion. So what can you buy? As you shop, remember that most fresh vegetables and fruits are fat-free. Avocados are an exception and should be used in moderation. In the dairy case, switch to 1% or skim milk and low-fat yogurt and sour cream. Use polyunsaturated margarines and try the new low-fat modified cheeses. Cottage cheese and grated Parmesan are good choices. In the meat case, look for lean cuts of beef like eye of round and top round, flank steak, and extra lean ground beef. Turkey breast is your best choice, followed by chicken breast. In the deli case, you should only occasionally eat salt-cured and smoked meats like pastrami, luncheon meats, and sausage. These tend to be high in fat. Skip the mayonnaise-based deli salads. In frozen foods, look for fruit bars and non-fat frozen yogurt. If you want pizza, choose plain cheese and add vegetables to it at home. In the seafood case, whitefish is the lowest in fat. Shellfish is a good choice as long as you skip the butter when serving. In canned goods, Switch to water-packed tuna and non-cream soups. Use a low-fat mayonnaise and try vegetable oils like canola and olive. Whole grain cereals are low in fat and rich in fiber like wheat, as are most whole grain breads. Snack on plain popcorn, dried fruits, and rice cakes. Dried pasta, rice, and beans have very little fat, and you should plan some meatless meals around these foods, but don't drown them in rich cream-based sauces and gravies. Serve vegetable lasagna or a black bean salad with cornbread. Just remember to balance your daily diet with a variety of foods. Now, in addition to being savvy about labeling and shopping, you also need to be smart when it comes to food safety. When shopping, select firm fruits and vegetables. Check the expiration date on all your dairy products. Before slicing your fruits and vegetables, rinse them thoroughly to avoid possible pesticide residue. If there's a slight bruise, it's safe unless the bruised portion has become moldy. Just cut away that section. Beef turns brown when it comes into contact with oxygen. It isn't dangerous, but don't eat meat you've purchased beyond 4 days unless it's been frozen. Thaw frozen meats in the refrigerator to prevent bacterial growth, or wrap food in a waterproof wrapping and defrost in cold water, changing the water every 30 minutes. If you thaw foods in the microwave, do so right before cooking. You should marinate your meat in the refrigerator. Eating undercooked meat, particularly poultry and seafood, is one of the major causes of salmonella poisoning. Ground beef, pork, and chicken shouldn't have any red in the center. Fish should flake when cooked properly. Be careful not to leave cooked food sitting around at room temperature longer than 2 hours. It's a target for food poisoning bacteria. After selecting and taking proper care of your food, cooking is an important part of your total dietary picture and can also be fun. Use cooking methods that require little or no fat. Broil, bake, stir-fry, roast, or steam. Steaming foods is a particularly good way to save nutrients. If you boil foods, those nutrients are literally cooked out. Vegetable cooking sprays on pans can be used instead of frying in fat. Be creative with more herbs, spices, and lemon juice, rather than fats and salt to flavor meats and vegetables. After making soup or stew containing meat or poultry, refrigerate until the fat congeals on the surface. Remove it before heating. One way to lower fat intake is to review your favorite family recipes and make healthier substitutions that taste great. For example, substitute 2 egg whites for 1 whole egg, or skim milk for whole milk. Use smaller portions of meat. Think of a deck of cards or the palm of your hand as a good-sized portion. Taking the skin off poultry before cooking removes most of the fat. Increase your family's fiber intake by adding beans and peas to soups, stews, casseroles, and salads. Serve more vegetables and fruits. Leave the skin on. Not only will it save you time, but this outer layer is high in fiber. Thank you. All of these smart principles can be applied when you're eating out, too. Good food can be enjoyed anywhere. Well, there you have it. You see, health fads come and go, but what really works is consistent exercise and developing good eating habits. You have the final responsibility for yourself, but good health will be your reward.